Talk about our roads, which will be busy this weekend as people travel to Christmas parties, shop for gifts, or visit family and friends. It's important to remember lives are lost during the holiday season due to drunk drivers. But soon, technology could help end this problem that kills thousands of people in the U.S. each year. Joining us live this morning is Tess Rowland, National President of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Good morning, Tess. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Good morning, Zach. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I understand cars could soon be equipped with drunk driving prevention technology?
Yes. So under the HALT Act, which passed in the bipartisan infrastructure bill in 2021, this mandates that drunk driving prevention technology is going to become a safety standard in all new cars, just as an airbag, just as a seatbelt. And the key here that we want people to understand is that this technology is going to be passive, in that the sober driver should never know that it is there, and the drunk driver is going to be stopped before they're able to take to the roads and potentially cause harm to themselves or others. NHTSA announced earlier this week the official start to the rulemaking process. They've had 3 years to set the mandates for what this technology is going to look like. So the deadline is November 2024. There's been a 2-year delay, but we are very excited at the start of this process and what it means for our organization. And of course, drunk driving victims of this nation who have fought so hard to see laws like this pass and potentially deaths prevented entirely.
Yeah, lives saved. It's long overdue. Tess, explain to us how National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is working to lay the groundwork with automakers and, of course, anti-drunk driving groups and devices for this.
So what they released earlier this week is called the ANPRM, which is the advance notice of the proposed rulemaking. So during this time, they've outlined what they want the technology to look like, what they expect it to do. And this is the time in which auto manufacturers, suppliers are going to come together to supply and propose ideas for the technologies that they have been working on. We, as an organization, have been in talks with many of the suppliers and auto manufacturers. We know that they have been working on this technology for quite some time, but it's of course up to NHTSA to hear all their best ideas at this time and then come together to decide what the technology is going to look like. But again, we want to outline that this would not be, many people confuse it with what's called an ignition interlock, in which you have to blow to start your car.
Right,
we still believe in that technology, but that would be for convicted drunk drivers. The goal for this is to be entirely passive. As I said, you should be able to start your car, and if you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, you should be able to start your car and go about your business as usual.
Yeah, that's really great perspective to keep in mind. I know you talked a little bit about that, that support that your group gives, but talk to us a little more, elaborate on that, the support Mothers Against Drunk Driving gives to these types of safety regulations when they're proposed, and really how it helps bring them to fruition.
Yes, so victims and survivors in Mothers Against Drunk Driving, it's estimated in our 40-year history that we've helped nearly 1 million victims and survivors of this crime. I'm so proud to be one of them myself and represent them in the work that I do every day. But this law truly passed because of victims and survivors so courageously going to their representatives or Congress members and fiercely sharing their stories. And this is a preventable death. And as I said, this should be a safety standard for all, because safety is an American right, not a privilege. It shouldn't be an extra cost to have technology like this. It should be built into every car.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I know you were impacted by drunk driving. You're no stranger to this show, and we're so grateful and thankful always for your time. But for people not familiar with how you were impacted, how this one incident, one morning changed your life, tell us about it.
Yeah, so May 4th, 2021, I was on my way to work as a television news reporter when I was hit head on by a wrong way drunk driver, and this has changed the course of my life entirely. I went from being a healthy 22-year-old, never having broken a bone in my life, to needing now 7 surgeries for injuries to my entire right side. I've had to relearn how to walk, how to use my right arm, and again, this crash never had to happen, and I dared to think with this types of technology that's going to be a safety standard, that stories like like mine
Yeah.
are virtually going to be eliminated. We know that the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety estimates that when this technology becomes a safety standard, and if we do meet the deadline of November 2024, all new cars starting in 2026 would have this technology. 10,000 lives a year are going to be
amazing.
saved. And unfortunately, drunk driving now is at an all-time high. Every 79 seconds in this country, someone is injured or killed by a drunk driver.
Yeah, that's a sobering statistic. Amazing work that you're doing and you're continuing to do each and every day. What would be your message before I let you go? It is the holiday season. It's supposed to be a joyous time for so many. It's an extremely difficult time for a lot of folks, especially those who have experienced loss. What would be your message to these people during the holiday season?
Yes, well, our greatest hope is to have this technology, but we don't have it quite yet. And I've said it throughout this interview, and I'll say it again, that this crime is 100% preventable through our choices. So do not be the reason that a family has an empty seat at their table this holiday season. So I encourage everyone, if you're going to be partaking in celebrations that involve alcohol, to make a plan, designate a non-drinking sober driver, use a rideshare service, or of course, public transportation.
Tess Rowland, always a pleasure catching up with you. Thank you so much for your time this morning.